During the past 3 years, state and federal governments have stepped up their campaigns to convince hardcore anti-vaxxers to immunise their children. The latest initiatives are in Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, where non-immunised children can no longer enrol in preschool. But in one of Australia's anti-vax hotspots, there's been a backlash to this no jab, no play policy, and it comes not from the anti-vaccination activists, but from early childhood educators, as Peter McCutcheon reports.
The Mount Warning Community Preschool near Byron Bay in northern New South Wales is shrinking. From 60 enrolments now to 40 next year, and probably even fewer from 2020 in an area that is growing.
You'll be able to continue here, do you think?
Well, we plan to, but we'll see. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
The problem is that half the children here are unvaccinated. Under new state government rules, they're allowed to stay here, but their unvaccinated younger brothers and sisters are banned from enrolling in the future as part of a policy known as no jab, no play.
Well, what do we do with those kids that are missing out? That's my concern. Yeah, where's the policy for them? You know, how do we get them that quality early childhood education, which we know benefits us, their families, the nation, you know, everything.
Preschool directors and educators in the Northern Rivers District, all of them supporters of childhood vaccinations, are speaking out for the first time against a policy seen as a punishment rather than a means of persuasion.
I think it stinks. I think it's appalling. I think it's causing division.
The more vaccinated, the better we are. But that's still, what about the marginalised? You know, there's still a proportion of children that are slipping through the net there and are missing that vital preschool education.
Northern New South Wales is a hotspot for anti-vaxxers. Nearly a third of children in some districts here are unvaccinated, compared to a national rate of less than 10%, with some devastating consequences.
My 4-week-old baby coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed and coughed, which seemed like for minutes, and went blue, stopped breathing and passed out in my arms. And the hospital staff very calmly took her from me and put oxygen on her face and said, "Yep, classic whooping cough."
Baby Dana McCaffrey died in 2009 at Lismore Hospital. Her mother, Tony, is now part of a group that helps to promote informed debate about immunisation. Heidi Robertson is the group's coordinator.
Vaccination rates have increased, and they've increased slowly, but they continue to go up every time new data comes out.
Many credit this increase to a federal government policy introduced 3 years ago of no jab, no pay. It meant parents would lose a family benefit welfare payment if they failed to vaccinate their child.
In a region like ours where nothing else has worked, this seems to be the one thing that has worked.
Now a new state policy goes even further. The preschool ban on unvaccinated children will begin to bite in the new year, according to the director of the Gumnut Community Preschool, Lena Beerling.
Probably 8 families where I've had to directly say no to. The first question is your child immunised? And then if they say no, then I have to, look at them and say they can't come, and then look at the child and say, I'm sorry, you can't come. And that's a really difficult thing to do.
Katerina Gorka, who lives at Yukai, recently found out her son Manu can't join his sister Maya at preschool.
I don't think it's fair, to be honest. It makes me feel like we're a bit secluded from society. Yeah.
Did you ever think, I'll get my son vaccinated so I get around this preschool problem?
No, I don't. No, I never thought about that.
Why not?
Because I have a set opinion on vaccinations, and that's not going to change.
And missing out on preschool could cause a host of other problems.
A lot of the time we're the first contact for links outside our services, so early intervention, family centre, support.
I think we need to carefully look at some of the unintended consequences of the policy and do an evaluation, particularly around consequences for financial impacts on some families and educational impacts on children in those critical few years before they start school.
Vaccinated children could also miss out if their local preschool has to close.
Well, I'm a very strong advocate for vaccination, both as an immunisation paediatrician and as a mum of 4 kids. But it's really important for us to be aware of the potential risks and benefits of these policies.
On the plus side, preschools here say the no jab, no play preschool exclusion policy has encouraged some parents to begin to vaccinate their children. But they say most anti-vaxxers just won't budge. Do you sometimes think when you're speaking to parents, oh, for goodness sake, just immunise your child and then your child can come to preschool?
Oh, I'd love to say that, but that's not my, that's not my position, and I don't propose to purport that position to families or the preschool, because that is their choice.
For state and federal governments, it's a choice between 2 competing priorities: health and access to early education. A parent with first-hand experience of childhood disease says health should always come first.
I know it sounds like tough love. However, these diseases can and do kill. And what this policy is all about is keeping childcare and preschools safer to protect our most vulnerable.
But educators in this anti-vax heartland warn there's a price to be paid.
Our number one interest is the children and to meet their learning outcomes.